y'all, it's Ashley and I'm back with another video. Of course, as I always say in these videos, Deidra and I made the decision to upload just a different video once a week outside of our live shows. That way we have some content in here kind of updating you on what we're reading, what's on our radar. Deidra's been doing these videos on publishing. We had our second live show last week, so I'll make sure that I link that up in the card symbol above. But we are here today to talk a little bit about some Black love romances that are on my TBR. So I actually keep a running list of Black love romances that I'm interested in reading, and I have 5 that are indie published and 5 that are traditionally published. So we're going to do my 5 indie picks first, and then we'll do my 5 traditional picks next. These are not the only Black love romances that I want to read in 2021, but these are ones that I have on my radar right now that I pulled from my list. So my list is extensive, like super extensive, but these were just 10 that I was able to pull from my list. So what I've been really doing lately is looking for some tropes or themes that I'm really interested in, and one for me is definitely like a vacation getaway, or like Black love romance is not set within the US, and that doesn't mean necessarily that the author is not from the US, but like vacation style basically is what I'm going for. So the one that I found that is pretty much fitting this theme is Crashing In on Love. This is the first book in the Vacation Love series by Taylor Love, and this focuses on 2 characters who actually end up in Jamaica. They're crashing a wedding, and then they end up, of course, finding love within each other. Our heroine's name is Tamara, our hero's name is Benjamin, and Tamara actually does not want to pursue a relationship, so they end up having a one-night stand. And she basically is like, that's where she wants to leave it. But Benjamin, on the other hand, is pretty much like, no, I think I might actually want to pursue this. So she kind of has to make the decision on whether she wants a romance to come out of it. And he has to sell her that this romance would pretty much be worth it. So this is one that I'm excited to read because it's going to be in a different setting. It is a vacation series. I think there's 3 books in the series, so if you read this one and you end up liking it like I do, there's 2 more after it that you can completely binge. So the next theme that I've been looking more into is definitely sports romance. I am in the middle of reading one of Nicole Falls's sports romance books, and I thought I would just kind of look for more to check out. So the one that is currently on my radar is Love in the Red Zone by Love Belvin. It's a collaboration between Love Belvin and also Christina C. Jones. So from what I have seen on Amazon, they actually alternate writing the books. So Love Belvin writes the first one, and then Christina C. Jones writes the second one, and then so on and so forth. So these are sports romances. Clearly by the cover you can tell they deal specifically with football. This first book specifically focuses on Trent and Jade. So Trent is getting a second chance at playing football again, and he doesn't want any distractions, nothing in his way, because he wants to make sure that he is able to maintain this opportunity. And Jade is specifically focused on raising her son, and she is fumbling pretty much everything, every opportunity that's getting thrown at her. So I'm guessing from the description that he ends up doing a favor for her, or maybe she does a favor for him, I don't know. But either way, there is a favor that is exchanged between the 2 of them, and then the relationship develops from there. But I have not read a lot of sports romance. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever really read a sports romance, and I'm trying very hard to think off the top of my head. I read a lot, so it is a possibility that I have read one and I don't remember, but I know that I have not read a lot. So I'm excited to dive into another sports romance series. This one is 6 books long, and I've read Christina C. Jones before, and I really like her writing style. This would be my first Love Belvin book. The next one that I have on my list is another collaboration by 2 authors that I have read from, and that is T. Key and Monica Walters, and this book is perfect timing. This description was really interesting because it looks like it's basically told from the perspective of our hero, and it is a first person narrative description, which is really intriguing. So he's an introvert, he has trust issues, there's a lot of things in terms of like baggage, but he ends up meeting this woman again. I believe her name is Janica, and he sees her and he wants to convince her to be in a relationship, but it seems like just from the description, like he has a lot of stuff to work through, a lot of things to kind of get past. So I want to see how he develops as a character, and then how that translates into this relationship that he clearly wants. He wants to fall in love, but he has some hiccups and some holdups, which I don't feel like I get that a lot from a hero perspective, not as often as I do from a heroine's perspective. So this is why this one really caught my attention, because of the actual narrative style that may come into play. The next one that I have is Never Him. This is an enemies to lover romance, which I do like enemies to lovers because the banter is usually really great. So this of course is about a hero and heroine who do not like each other at all, and our heroine's name is Lisa, our hero's name is Nick, and she does not like him. But over the course of time, there seems to be some attraction building between the two of them. So I love enemies to lovers where you just kind of get to see the relationship progress and see what characteristics end up making the two of them fall in love with each other. So this is one that definitely has been high on my radar. I just have not had the chance to get to it yet. And of course, I could not make this list without including the Cove. And the reason why is because I kind of made the decision that this year I was going to attempt to make it through Nicole Falls' backlist. I read a lot of her stuff last year, and I was like, I just need to just go ahead and finish the rest of her books this year. So this one I had on my list as one that I wanted to start. Now this is a series, but Nicole Falls only writes the first book. The second and the third book are written by two other authors, and the book itself is called A Road to Love, and the series is Lessons in Love. So this is a road trip romance, it feels like. It focuses on two characters. Our heroine is Emerson, our hero is Roosevelt, and Emerson, it has some stuff go on and she ends up making a road trip to go back to her hometown, and Roosevelt's grandmother has passed, so he's going back home to take care of her affairs. So I'm guessing what's going to happen is that the two of them are going to end up meeting somewhere when they're headed to their respective places, because she's headed to Michigan, he's headed to Illinois, and I wonder how that meeting is going to happen. Like, what is their meet cute situation going to be, and then how are they going to handle a developing romance, especially because they're going to different states and I don't know exactly like where they're coming from. So this is going to be great. I absolutely adore and love Nicole Falls, so I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure, that this book is not going to disappoint. And of course I will be checking out the second and third book in the series. All right, so the first book that I have in my traditional published pile is Love in Catalina, Cove by Brenda Jackson. I read my first Brenda Jackson last year, I believe, but this is one of her more popular series, Love in Catalina, Cove, and it focuses on a heroine by the name of Vashti who actually left Catalina, Cove because of a teenage pregnancy, never expected to come back, and then a decade later she does end up coming back after she inherits her aunt's B&B, and she ends up getting pulled over and stopped by the town sheriff, who is Sawyer, and I'm sure a romance develops between the two of them. She reopens the B&B, but then something happens where the truth about a situation comes out, and it changes everything that she thought she knew about her family, possibly. I'm just making assumptions here. I'm not sure what that thing could be, but I think I have some ideas. So Sawyer and his teenage daughter kind of help her work through that. But this is a thick one. This is a thickie. But like I said, I've heard nothing but great things about it. If I like this one, I definitely will be picking up the two other books in the series. And I believe there's a novella that's a part of the series as well. I think so. Of course, I couldn't make this list without including a Beverly Jenkins book. So I read my first historical by Beverly Jenkins. I've read her contemporary work before, but I read my first historical and I really liked it. So this one here is Nighthawk, and it follows a bounty hunter by the name of Ian. And I believe, yeah, his wife was murdered years ago, and he actually has to deliver a woman that he has found who is in trouble because there is a mob that pretty much wants her to hang for a crime that she didn't commit. Of course, I'm sure that in her being captured kind of by him, that they end up developing a romance and falling in love. I wonder if this has some slight captive captor type of elements to it. I don't know. But first of all, this cover, I'm just saying, the cover. The cover. The next one that I have here is Reese Ryan, Savannahs Secret. This is part of the Harlequin Desire line. So this is about Savannah, and she gets close to Blake Abbott, and the Abbott family owns this bourbon company that technically was taken away from Savannah's grandfather. So she gets close to him, trying to infiltrate and get 50% of the company that she feels like is owed to her family. But things go in a completely different direction, and she ends up getting pregnant by Blake. So this does technically have like the surprise pregnancy trope. And I read a book recently that kind of had that element, and I don't think it was done well. So I'm very, very nervous to read this one, but I think that a couple of people have said that it was still good. So I'm so interested in reading it. I have not read a Harlequin Desire, so this may be my first introduction to Harlequin Desire. So the next one that I have is one that quite a few people have read, and it's Forbidden Promises by Synethia Williams. The third book to the series, I believe, comes out at the end of this month. And this has a very, very interesting premise, and I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out. It focuses on a main character or heroine by the name of India, and India goes home to visit her family. She's supposed to go and leave. But then what ends up happening is that her brother asks her to stay because he needs help on this political campaign, and she really doesn't want to stay because of her sister's ex-husband. So Travis is her sister's ex-husband, and he's always been really, really close to the family. Even after the divorce, he's close to the family, and the two of them apparently ended up drinking one night, shared a really, really passionate kiss. They both can't forget it, but I think they're both trying to avoid the situation. But they're both working on this political campaign. So of course, as a result, what we're going to see here is probably a romance develop. But I'm wondering how it's going to play out. So I'm excited. So this last one is super important, and it's so crazy because it's wrapped in cellophane because it's so old. This is the first Harlequin romance that featured two black characters written by a black author, and it is Sandra Kitt's Adam and Eva. And I'm so excited that I was able to actually find a copy of this book because it was published in the 80s, and the one that I was able to find was in pretty good condition. And I did actually end up not really paying a lot for it when it was all said and done. But this book can be hard to find unless, you know, like you're going to like a secondhand seller. But this is about, of course, Adam and Eva, and they're on the island St. John. Yeah, St. John Island. And Eva was supposed to be going down there for a vacation, relaxing, and just, you know, trying to enjoy her time. But then she ends up, you know, there with Adam, and Adam is there with his younger daughter, and he is ordering her around, his daughter, in a way that Eva just does not like. So for his daughter's sake, Eva's like, I'm gonna stand up to this man, and I don't care what the consequences may be. So this one for me is not so much excitement about the premise per se, but the historical context of this book and how important it is to just the history of Black love romance. So this one is one that's like high on my list of books that I need to read. in 2021. All right, y'all, so that's it. Those are 10 books that are on my TBR for 2021. Let me know in the comments below what are some books that are on your TBR for Black romance in 2021. As always, y'all, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from us, make sure you hit the subscribe button. As always, we have one of these videos once a week, and then our live shows are always the 13th of the month. So we will announce the topic and the date, and well, you know the date's going to be the 13th, but we'll announce the time and stuff for that live show at a later date. Make sure you check out all of our past videos, and we will be back with some more content soon.